So they told me they will be watching it.
Yes. They'll come on. I'm sure they're probably just waiting for me to. And it's a little warm, but I guess it's too cold.
It's okay.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. This is the In the Spotlight radio show. It is Monday, so you know what time it is. It is time for your favorite Monday pastime, which is relaxing and getting ready, getting all set for the program. Just met a gentleman on the street just a while ago, and he said, I'm just going home to get ready for the program. You know yourself. Good evening to you. Good evening to our fans, our listeners, near and far. Those of you right here in Dominica, in whatever part of Dominica that you are, whether you're listening via your transistor radio, whether you're listening via your favorite channel, on whichever channel this radio station is, whether you are listening via your mobile phone, whatever medium you're listening, it is our pleasure to be here, and it is our pleasure to have you join us. Those of you listening outside of Dominica, we know we have a huge listenership in the diaspora. And we thank you as well for tuning in. Don't forget, we are live on YSQ95, as well as on my Facebook page. We're live. Rashid Zamore, is that one of them? Yes. All right, already tuned in. Good evening to you. Tonight on the In the Spotlight radio show, it's a topic that I've not yet touched, I think, since the beginning, since the inception of this program. I can't explain why, but all I can say is I am happy to make up tonight, starting with the guest that I have on tonight's In the Spotlight radio show. And the area of focus tonight is going to be agriculture. And before I start, I just want to reach out to a particular gentleman. I think I was told that he goes by Dr. Dave Lloyd, and I really would like to thank him for reaching out and suggesting and recommending this guest that I have in studios tonight. And I also want to thank the guest for consenting to be part of the program tonight. I really did appreciate it. And so, on the In the Spotlight radio show tonight, we have a gentleman by the name of Derrick Zamore. So for those of you who didn't know who tonight's guest was going to be, it is this particular gentleman, and apparently he seems to be quite popular. Quite a few persons seem to know him, because when I mentioned him, I was told, oh, Mr. Zamore, they call you Big Z. You see, I'm telling you. So I'm really happy to have this gentleman here tonight, and we will talk to him. Obviously, you know, the In the Spotlight radio show is all about getting to know the individual, and then we branch out into the individual's area of expertise. And so we will get to know Mr. Zamore a bit. So we'll get to know about his background, his family, his education. We will get to know about how he got into the field of agriculture and why he remained in agriculture for a very long time. And we will also speak to Mr. Zamore about the state of agriculture in Dominica from his point of view, and any suggestions and recommendations he may have for those who are willing to take the suggestions and recommendations that he has. and I would like to just reach out to his family, most of whom I'm told are outside of Dominica, who may be tuning into the program either via TuneIn or possibly via the Facebook Live. I'm happy to have all of you. And, you know, don't worry, Daddy's going to do you well. He's going to represent the Zamore family very well tonight. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. So without wasting much time, I just want to once, before I move on further, to acknowledge the Q95 FM radio that allows me to do this program here every Monday night. I also just want to acknowledge Innovate Multimedia. They are responsible for producing the flyers for the In the Spotlight radio show. Kadisha is not here tonight, but I just also want to acknowledge her and anyone who supports us in either way or the other. Twapiton provides our water, although Jenny, I had to do some buying tonight, so we need to restock, okay? All right, and again, just one last thing before we begin the conversation. I really would like to reach out to the family and the friends of, I'm sorry, of Ava Roach, and I heard of the passing of Ava Roach early this morning, and I really just want to reach out to the Roach family and families and the McIntyre families, and to extend deepest condolences to them, and to ask them to be strong in this very difficult time. Keep it locked. We're coming back right after this to begin our chat with Mr. Derrick, and I just learned tonight his middle name is Dominique, so Derrick Dominique Zamore. We're coming right back.
In the spotlight on Q95.
Who is Patricia? Your daughter, she's on.
She's a
Yeah, she's tuned in. I think I saw Curtis Zamore as well.
Yeah, Curtis will be there.
He will be there, most likely.
Yeah, but Brenda should be there.
Okay, well I haven't
Although
seen
Brenda
so.
said that is a sleeping time.
Oh my goodness,
Because
no Brenda.
she leaves for work like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, okay. So the Zamore family, just give me a thumbs up or something. Let me know that you're there, okay? Supporting Daddy tonight. We're not live on radio, but I'm just talking to you via Facebook.
Okay.
Alright, good evening everyone. Locked in. Hi Charmaine, one of my biggest supporters.
Will also spotlight interesting topics, issues, and relevant situations. Don't miss In the Spotlight on Q95 FM radio every Monday nights from 8 p.m. In the Spotlight.
It takes a little time before it gets. Yes. Oh, my sister Gillox. What's up, Hayes? Oh, my peoples are there. Gillox, I didn't think you'd be here considering where you are. Great topic choice tonight for dance. Yes, thank you. I didn't want to touch my phone. Thank you for the positive energy. Brenda is tuned in, so Patricia says Brenda is tuned in.
Okay.
All right, it is 15 minutes now past the 8 o'clock hour on a very long Monday. Monday has become, there's a tradition of it being a very long Monday for me, in that, you know, I come straight from work to another activity and then I'm here. But we are always full of energy and ready to go no matter the circumstances, all right? And we are ready. Let's go, right, Mr. Zamore? All right. So we are here on the In the Spotlight radio show tonight, and I am very, very honored to have this gentleman with me in studios. And as I've said, you know, I've gotten a bit of flack to some extent for not having had many guests on this particular subject matter. But tonight, I think I am redeeming myself. Not because, you know, I really want to redeem myself, but I think that this gentleman, from what I've heard, is a really good example of what has happened in terms of the agriculture sector in Dominica and helping to build and nurture that agriculture sector. And we're going to learn a few things from him tonight, so I'm going to allow him to do some of the talking. So, Mr. Zamore, good evening to you, sir.
Yes, good evening, Fernanda.
How are you?
I'm okay.
You look okay to me. Mr. Zamore, it is my pleasure to have you here with me tonight.
Thank you, thank you.
It is my pleasure. We, of course, begin by getting to know our guests. So,
Okay.
I got to know a bit of you, but they don't know.
Right,
So,
okay, so I'll try to do it as briefly as I can, you know.
as
So,
briefly, don't worry, we have 2 hours.
I know.
All right. So, Mr. Zamore, who are you? Where are you from?
Okay,
Who's this person?
let's look at it.
Yes.
I'm from Clonal
On the West
on
Coast.
the West Coast, the parish of St. Peter. I am from a family of 10, and which is made up of 7 boys, well, it was made up of 7 boys and 3 girls. It is that nucleus family is now down to 8 because 1 boy and 1 girl has since died. Actually, my sister was a nurse. She died last year in Barbados
Okay.
from Alzheimer's.
Oh.
So that is it. So 8 of us. Of the 10, surprisingly, 9 of us were born on Sundays.
Really? What do they say about children born on Sundays? They full of which?
I don't know.
There is a.
I don't go towards that extreme, but I know that 9 of us were born on Sundays, and 1 was born on a Wednesday.
One was born on a Wednesday. Which one was born on a Wednesday? Number
it's
what?
a girl. It's she number 4.
Somewhere in the middle.
Number 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's she's a retired teacher. She's Mrs. Corriett, Luke Corriett. Okay, so that's the 10. That's where I'm from. We're all Catholics, Roman Catholic, and we fitted into different sections in the Dominican system, public system.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of us worked in with government.
Okay.
So I'm number 2 in the family. My number 1 is my sister. She is married to the Brunies in Cochrane.
Mm-hmm.
So she's also into education too. She used to be in the preschool with the social center. She worked quite a while there. And then agriculture, there is 1, 2 in agriculture, Derrick, retired now.
Oh.
And there is 1 in forestry. He's retired as well, but he's in the United States. Okay. Then there is 1 into mechanical engineering, as Franklin. He used to be a tutor at the Clifton Dupini Technical College. And then there is the last one. He's an economist. He's in Tampa, Florida. So most of that family is outside in the U.S. It's only 2, 3 of them are in Dominica now. Right? I am in and out of Dominica, so I'm not fully resident.
Okay.
I'm here every year. I'm here, so I call myself complete Dominican.
Right.
Okay, so that is the brief for the family of 10.
I'm picking up that most of your family worked within the public service.
Yeah.
Either as teachers, you in agriculture and others in agriculture. So your family seems to have played a major role in Dominica's development in some way or the other.
I would say yes.
Indeed.
Because I remember my mother. We used to have this village council and social center competitions in the villages, in the parishes. And she had written up something, to show at the meeting, and it was describing her children, the work that they did.
Mm-hmm.
So you could see what contribution that family would make to Dominica, and it was good.
It was good.
it wasn't fortunate for her because she was very brilliant.
Okay.
She was smart.
But obviously she made brilliant children.
She was smart. But at that time, there was this bias towards men.
Yeah.
So there was another guy, I don't want to call names,
No,
right?
that's
There
okay.
because the guy became part of family.
Okay.
He was married to my aunt. So it's we ourselves,
Yes.
right? And then it came that they wanted a teacher. And she applied. She had all the qualifications, probably more than what was needed. But there was a man who was on the same line, and then it went to the man. But the man did well. He became principal and that kind of a thing.
Okay.
And all his children have become well. They've done well.
Okay. So no hard feelings.
No
hard
hard feelings.
feelings.
And also he became family, right?
Yes.
So that made it.
No hard feelings. So you just spoke a bit about your mother. I want to know more about this woman and some of the manner in which she brought up you and your siblings.
Oh, that's interesting.
And if you want to talk about daddy too.
Yes, daddy must come.
Of course.
And without daddy, you can't have nobody. Right? So my mother she was cool, she was not the haughty type of person. She would be there and you wouldn't even know if she's there. But she could observe and she could bring the conversation to suit what she wanted to get, And she did well. She did well. But to have 10 kids, now they were not employed. My father was a part-time tailor, part-time farmer, part-time fisherman. No regular income, right? So it wasn't easy. And to have that many children without an income, there's a thing we call credit. Kwedi. That is what helped us a lot. And we were lucky to be relating with somebody whom I call a saint. I feel that person is a saint. They may never canonize that person as a saint, but to my mind, that person is a saint. And I when I meet her daughter, I tell the daughter that all the time. And I'll tell you who the daughter is. The daughter is Mrs. Nick Liverpool. So it's her mother.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that is Dr. Nicholas Liverpool's wife, the former president.
Right.
May so rest in peace.
So the mother was Bertha Shillingford. I can never forget that lady. She had a shop.
She helped your family.
Yeah, she helped us considerably. We would never have too much credit for her not to give us what we need.
Wow.
And that did help us.
So you are one of the children, I would presume, who might recall going to the shop and saying, my mother said.
My mother
But
she is not the shopkeeper who would say, your mother again.
Yes.
No, you never heard that.
Oh wow.
You never heard that. And that made me different in that I went to school, I came out of school. Well, actually I did the Coliho Elementary School, primary school. That's where I attended for the whole 10 years of my education. And then I went to Portsmouth for 2 years when that school opened. Then when I came out of Portsmouth School, I got employment at the Coliho Agricultural Station at a very hefty price. I was earning $10 a fortnight. That is $1 a day. Right? That was no money, but at that time it could help.
It could help.
And I was happy to know that that $10 was what we could use to get what we need.
To help your family.
Right. So no matter what the credit bill is, we would go there and we would put the $10. It would change the amount, but we would start taking right away. So I feel good that I was able to make that contribution.
Any of you or your siblings followed in Daddy's footsteps in terms of the fishing, the tailoring?
Yes,
the farming?
yes. The one who does the mechanical engineering, he is a big time fisherman. Every Saturday he goes to fish. So he's in the fishing. He and the other one who was in agriculture, as Urban, the younger one, he goes with him as well. So those two, they do fishing.
They do fishing.
Yeah.
We're gonna move into zeroing in on you and your family. And before I do that, though, I want to tell you a little secret. Somebody told me, Mr. Zamore does not get upset. Mr. Zamore is not somebody who gets stressed. And that's somebody who sent me a message, and he might be listening. He said he's a neighbor of yours in Capefield. And he says to me, you know, is that so, Mr. Zamore? How can you not get upset?
Well, I try.
Explain that to me.
I try not to get vexed, right? Because I know when I get vexed, I don't know what will happen to me.
Okay.
So I don't want to get there. Right? So if I see anything going to develop into a fracas, I move away. Right? But I let nothing stress me. Because I think I told you that I went to Minnesota in 1987. And it's a 2-week program, so I did a 1-week attachment with an extension officer in the Minnesota section. And when that week was over, everybody went to North Dakota at Fargo. And there we did 1 week of sort of educational lectures and that type of thing. And there were all types of courses given at the University of North Dakota. And you could choose which one you want to go to. And I remember choosing one they called stress management. I don't remember what was taught, but I believe I internalized everything.
Wow.
And it is just in me.
Please teach me. Try to remember, Mr. Zamore.
It is just in me. So I will just weigh a situation and then I will get to work.
Tell me about 1 or 2 other characteristics that you hold dear. So you don't get stressed?
No, I don't get stressed.
Are you kind? Are you
yes,
generous?
I don't want to blow my trumpet, right? I help whatever I can, right? I mean, I help families as well. There are people who have naughty children.
Naughty.
And they call me to talk to them and so, right? And then, I mean, I had a situation where there's a family who has only 1 child. And there was, you know, as we say in Patois, I might bring in some Patois in between, right? There is Zizani Apamiyo.
Zizani? Well, Mr. Zamore, that one, I don't know what it means.
That, it means, you know,
a little friction. I
right?
see.
And then the mother and father, they just couldn't get eye to eye with the son. So I tell them, okay, they would like me to talk to the boy. You know, I said, okay, I can do that, but I cannot just talk to the boy. I have to talk to you, I have to talk to your husband, everybody. So I made it a big, I never realized I could, how they call it, you go and do, learn.
You could be a therapist?
Not therapist, the people who come and give.
A lecturer?
A lecturer. Okay, when they would come.
It will come to us.
Right. So I said, okay, so I spoke to the guy first. No, I spoke to the parents first. Then I asked them to let the guy come to me. He came, we spoke, and then they went. So I said, all 3 of you have to come, and then we will speak. And we spoke, and surprisingly, it seemed to have worked.
You were a counselor, is that the word?
Counselor.
Before?
Yeah,
yes.
counselor.
Yes.
So it seemed to have worked because they don't have that friction anymore.
Awesome. Look, one of your daughters is saying, Daddy, I need a lesson in the no stress. I need it too, Patricia. We need to link up, you know, to get him to help us out. Yes. So have you done that kind of thing, you know?
No, I don't do it, but if it comes up, I'll never turn down somebody.
But you're able to give your 2 cents.
Right. Because you see, while I work with government, my whole function was as a change agent. So I would do everything to effect change. So I work with the farmers, I want to see them get better. So I try to see what they're doing with the knowledge and what I have. I would try to gradually bring them across to do it better, right? But that was the objective, to change for the better, not for the worse.
All right. Let us talk a bit about your family. A couple of your children are actually online with us tonight, viewing you. So I know they must be feeling very, very proud. So let us talk about your family. Tell me about your family.
Well, I'm very proud of them, and they have made me very proud. We've done what we could, and they have taken up the challenge, you know. So that's good. Like, as I told you, I had children before I got married.
Yes.
So I have a nucleus family, right? But I had 3 children before I got married. One the first one died. He died in 95, right? And the other 2 are here. One is in the States and one is in St. Martin. And then I had 5 children with my wife.
Okay.
My wife is from Kings Hill.
Tell me about her.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Her name is Doreen.
Doreen.
Yeah.
And you're smiling as you say Doreen.
And well, I shouldn't say she is a nurse.
Okay.
Because once you become those professions, you never change. She was a nurse, and many people, by hearing her name, would say, yes, she must have, how you call it, in the Clonal Cocoa to bring the babies out. She worked there for quite a while, so a lot of babies may have come into the world through her hands, you know.
Nice.
Right, so she is from Kings Hill. She has a large family too. And
how did you meet?
that's big detail, you know.
That's all right. Share as much as you can.
Yeah. I'll make it brief.
Proceed.
I'll proceed. Right, so when I joined the agricultural section, I worked rural, and then I used to come to town pretty often on the weekends. So I didn't want to, restaurants were not as popular as they are now, because I'm pretty old, you know. I'm not that young.
I didn't ask you your age.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty old. Actually, there's a guy who became the first black president of the United States. He's 21 years my junior to the date.
Okay, so somebody, please tell me the age of President Obama, and then we'll figure out Mr. Zamore's age.
Yeah,
he's
21 years my junior.
Obama's age plus 21 will give us Mr. Zamore's age.
So in those days, you know, there were very little things like we had a little thing there and a little thing there and a little thing there. So I wouldn't go in for that much. I never liked restaurant food.
Right.
I like my food.
Right.
Because I want to take care of myself.
Correct.
Right? So my aunt, whom I used to have lunch by every day, I could walk out with her breakfast and I could walk out with her dinner. But the lunch, the midday meal, that was my most critical meal. So I would take it from her because she was from Clonal, and I know I would get something, you know. So eventually she lived at Kings Hill. And then I used to go there for lunch. But those days I rode a motorcycle.
Huh.
I used to have a BSA 350 motorcycle. In those days that was
BSA.
That means Birmingham Small Arms.
All
It's
right.
a product of England.
Okay, and it was a BSA 350.
350, that's 350 cc's.
Uh-huh.
So it's a big one. Real beautiful piece of iron. Real looking good, right?
And that was back in the...
Back in the 60s.
60s.
Yeah, 60. That's 64, 65. And so I'll go there for lunch, take my lunch and go down. And apparently she saw me, I didn't see her. She saw me and I got message that she saw me.
Oh.
And it developed.
Wow. I suspect you were quite a looker, you know, Mr. Zamore, back in the day.
I wouldn't say I was a looker. I mean, I had what it took, you know.
You're tall.
I was tall, I had a job.
Right.
I wasn't bad looking.
You're not bad looking.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't. Right? So, I mean, I was visible.
Right.
But I was not using that as a means to prey on people. No, I wasn't doing
Right,
that. No.
right.
So I was just going. And it happened.
It happened.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history.
That's it.
All right.
We got married in January 71. I started building in May 72. The same time I got the opportunity to go to Jamaica School of Agriculture to study. I said I can't turn that down.
Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about that
I took it up.
a bit.
And then from there it has just expanded. Right? I've had the opportunity to travel the world. I mean, I have been to Mexico. I can say a couple words in Spanish. But now I am still,
Well,
I haven't spoken it for a lot of years.
well, I'm sure you can at least say buenos noches.
Ah, sí.
Sí.
¿Cómo está? Sí.
¿Cómo está?
No problema. I can, but I have to think before I speak.
Yes, yes.
Then I have been to Swaziland. I did a 3 months agricultural management course in Swaziland, allowing me to go up through Kenya and come down through Malawi and come down to South Africa. On my way back, I spent 3 days in Ethiopia. I went to see where Haile Selassie lived.
Nice.
I saw there, and then I went to England. I spent my holidays. I spent a month holiday in England. I watched West Indies play at Lords.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've lived, Mr. Zamore. You've lived.
I live my life.
We're going to talk some more about that, but let us talk about the offsprings that came as a result of that beautiful marriage.
In total of the marriage, there are 5 offspring.
Uh-huh.
Right? So the first one is Curtis. I guess he may be hearing his name called now. He lives in Rockaway, New Jersey.
Right.
He's married. He has 2 kids. They were all here for the carnival. Then the second one is Brenda. Brenda is a product of the convent, St. Martin's School, and then the convent high school, and the 6th form college. She has a bachelor's degree with emphasis on chemistry, and she has a master's degree in applied statistics. But she is in the, what do you call that, the drug making thing. She works with Novartis.
Okay.
So she's big time, she's in big demand.
All right, you go big time, daughter.
Yeah. And then there is, then came the twins after Brenda, right? So there's Derrick and Dominic.
Right.
Okay, Derrick is here on earth with us, but Dominic unfortunately is not with us. He passed.
Yes.
And then there was the last one, which his name was my father's name, which is Jonas. Because my father was Jonas. Oh, you said you had to say something about my father, but that's okay. So he came the last one. He was SMP product SMA. Then he went to the States. He did an associate, but he went into computer. So he worked for a while in the computer thing, and he said he tired of work for people. He going to work for himself.
Good.
And he opened his own private business, and he's doing graphics. So he's doing all those things, all the things there, and he's repairing computers there at the same time. But unfortunately, he left us.
I actually asked your permission, even before we came on the program this evening, if this is something that you were comfortable speaking about, because although we had a bit of a chat before and you mentioned 1 or 2 things, I suspect that it didn't stick in my mind as probably it should have.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it was only afterwards, I was told that you lost 3 of your sons.
3 boys, yeah.
You mind sharing with us?
Okay, I'll give you a synopsis of the 3 of them.
Yes.
The first one, his name is Valentine. And he's named Valentine because he was born on the 13th of February, not the 14th.
One day before
his
Valentine's
son, I used to say that Rashid was there, that's Rashid's father. Right? He was born on the 13th, not the 14th.
Okay.
Right? So he was in agriculture as well. The people at Soufriere knew him very well.
Okay.
Because when he passed, the people at Soufriere, they had a big presentation for him at the cathedral during the funeral. Right? So all 3 of them are kind of tragic circumstances.
Yes, that's what I understood. Yeah. So that is hence the reason why I didn't want to be insensitive to just throw it at you.
Well, that's cool.
That I
that's
asked
cool.
if
I can manage.
Okay.
It. So he fell off a veranda.
Oh my goodness.
13 feet 8 inches in Marsac. So when he fell, he broke his neck. And that was a Saturday morning, the 8th of July 1995. West Indies was playing cricket in England. I was on the bed listening to cricket about 6 o'clock in the morning. And then Raj's mother called me and said, Mr. Zamore, there's somebody outside there looking like Val, but I don't know. I say, how you mean you don't know? You don't know Val then? She tells me, she don't know. I say, okay, I'm coming. So I got up, and on my way out, I spoke to my friend, and the friend came with me, and we went. When I reached, I saw him on the ground. And I touched his finger, and rigor mortis hadn't set in yet, the finger was still soft, so it was not long that had happened. So we stayed there, and we called the police, and the police came and leaned us and took him away. So that is one. Then he was 33. All of them were lost in their prime.
Wow.
He was 33. Then the next one is Dominic. He carries my middle name. He was supposed to be in Florida, and he's a motorcycle man.
But you were?
Well, yes. But he is a motorcycle man, and he has some big things, nothing small. So he was supposed to go to Florida to something, at a Myrtle Beach or one of them there. And then he couldn't get the proper accommodation in the hotels. Where he could get a good hotel, it was too far. It wasn't close enough to the thing. So he said he prefers to come to Dominica. So they came, he and his girlfriend, they came. Last flight he reached Dominica from Antigua, about 5:30. So he came home. So I had this little business place there, which I call an outlet for the farm. So I came from there and I went up. I went to my brother, the one who does the mechanical engineering. I was just speaking to him, but close to 8 o'clock, I said, boy, Franklin, I have to leave you, well, Dominic is here, so I have to go and see him. So I drove home. When I drove home, I parked my car and I went up. As I reached in the living room, he was just leaving the bedroom going out. And I just said, Daddy, man. I said, we'll talk later, man. And that was it.
You never got to talk later?
By 9 o'clock, he was no more.
Where did it happen?
It happened on the way to Stock Farm. He hit at the back of a SUV. He was riding a motorcycle. His friends, he used to deal motorcycles. He would send them in the barrels, break it down, put it in the barrel, and send it down there, and he would...
Put it together?
Yeah. No, the person who it is addressed to will put it together.
Okay.
There were guys here who could do that.
Okay, okay.
Right? So he would... I did quite a bit of business for him like that, you know. So he would do that.
How old was he?
He was 32.
Wow.
He was born in 75 and he died in 207.
Okay.
So that would be 25 and 7, 32.
32. So the first one 33.
Yes,
and this one 32.
Yeah. They died on the 8th of March 207. And then the last one who went into his own business, you know. Because these guys, I don't know, they had vision. Once I heard him talking to my brother, telling him that, boy, my brother, I guess you don't know him.
It's okay, just take your sip of water for a moment.
You don't know him, but the aged people here would know him. He's a cricketer, Macford. He's a big-time cricketer. He played for Dominica, Windward Islands, and Windward Leeward Combined. So he is a photographer. The last one, he can do Photoshop.
Okay.
So he does that, and he in his graphics thing to print his T-shirts and those kind of a thing. So he was telling my brother, but Uncle Macford, we have a lot of skills in the family, you know. We have to find a way to harness those skills together.
Correct.
And he didn't stay too long after that. Right? So he is a very hard sleeper. When he falls asleep, he falls asleep. So he was at a party a Sunday night, a friend function. So when he left there, he said, rather than go back home, he's going to go to New York to buy materials for his business. He fell asleep on the road and that was it.
Oh, wow.
He crossed 2 highways. No vehicle ever touched him. Right? One highway going in that direction, he crossed through. To the next one going in the next direction, he went through, nobody stopped him. And he went right over to the edge and fell in a big, like a parapet like down there. We cannot find him. 2 days we cannot find him. Flyers everywhere, everybody looking for him, we can't find him. until a gang of people who work on the road,
I'm
shivering. They came there and they saw the vehicle. On the vehicle had all his logo of his business and everything. So once they saw that, they know it was him. So I even have a clipping of an article on the US paper, right? I have it at home. I don't know where it is now, but I have it. And then that was him. He was gone. And then he was born in 83, so that is 17, and he died in 08, so he was 25.
Very young, very young.
He died on the 25th, well, he was pronounced dead on the 25th of June.
Because that was the day he was found?
Yeah, that's the day he was found.
He was found.
Yeah.
What was the time difference between each of your sons passing?
One is in the morning early.
In terms of the years?
Well, the years, 23 years is the total year for all of them.
Okay.
But for the two last ones, it was 15 months.
It was 15 months apart.
But the first one died in 95, so that is 5 and 7, 12. Right? So,
Mr. Zamore, how did your family deal with this?
boy,
And your wife more so?
I don't know, but my wife took it extremely bad. When the last one died, I remember Mappin came home to do a program. So they asked her whether she wanted to speak. And she said yes.
She spoke?
She spoke. And I remember her telling, what's the name of the guy? I can see him, I don't remember the name. One of the news anchors. He said when she got the news, it was like a sword had gone right through her heart. So she took it badly, real bad. A lot of times she gets into some moods and I have to calm her.
Yes.
I have to calm her.
And that's understandable.
Yeah. But I say, boy, that's life.
It is,
right? That's
is.
life. And I don't know why, but it doesn't, it troubles me sometimes, you know, but not all the time. I can go on and be me, right? So.
You kept the ashes of one of your sons. Which one?
Two.
You kept the ashes of two?
Two. Dominic, the one who died here, actually he died here, but Jonas couldn't come here for the funeral. Neither could Brenda come because Brenda was doing her exams for her masters and Jonas had his own business, so he couldn't come there. So we took the body back to the States and we did the funeral and everything there, and then we cremated the body and we took it down. But it stayed at home in the States for a while. So by the time Jonas passed, it was still there.
Wow.
So
one came to meet the
right,
other.
came to meet the other, so we got the two urns. So I was saying, boy, how will we be able to differentiate which one is whom? But the funeral home people are exceptionally smart people. They gave us the things and you don't have to ask no question. Dominic was clear skin, Jonas was dark skin like me. And the two urns, well, they made of wood, are the same thing. One is dark, one is clear. No problem.
That was so thoughtful and considerate. Yeah.
So I kept that there until the wife decided, well, she can't.
I understand she wanted them.
She wanted the last one to be buried with her.
With her.
I said, well, she knows when she's going to die, you know, but maybe she changed her mind, she's going to die now, you know.
Oh my goodness. So, it's good that you can still have a little humor in all of this. But you recently buried the...
Yes, we did that on the Saturday before Carnival. So the whole family was there, everybody was there. Right? We had a good time. It was sad. It's only one time during the memorial mass that hit me. The last hymn they sang, all I ask of you
is forever to remember me.
I started singing and I just stopped.
You couldn't
because I was about to cry. And that was it.
Well, your family and yourself, you've been strong.
Yes.
I know it's been a while, but I still would just like to extend my condolences because I didn't know you before, but I'm learning of this. You know, I actually learned really today of this, and it really saddened me, you know, and I just thought to myself, I need to just speak to Mr. Zamore and ask him kindly if this is something that he'd be okay speaking about, and I'm happy that you consented to do so. I think speaking about it occasionally, you know, probably helps as well.
Yes, it does.
In
it
terms
does.
of
It's a small therapy, you know.
yes.
But from those occurrences,
Yes.
I seem to come with a conclusion that people know when they are going to pass.
Why do you say that?
Because the first boy who died, he used to help me on the farm. I had my own farm. I don't have it anymore because the hurricane mashed it up and I have not been there for a while, so it's all gone. But he was the one who used to do a lot of the work on the farm. By that time I was deep into government business, so I didn't have the latitude to go there. And I was into bananas, and I just planted a good piece of bananas there, and it was about harvesting time. And then he told me, Daddy, you know something? We're going to have a lot of bananas next week, you know, but you have to get somebody.
He told you had to get...
I didn't ask him anything, I just took what he told me. Then my sister, Janet Correa, told me that he passed by her and told her, Auntie Janet, Saturday will be crucial, you know. And he died on a Saturday. He died the same Saturday.
The same Saturday?
Same Saturday he told her that Saturday will be crucial. That's when he passed. So from that, I got what he said. But when Dominic passed, Dominic, long before that, you know, he said, when I die, I don't want nobody to come with black clothes, you know. Don't come with no black clothes. I don't want nobody to cry. Come and enjoy yourself, right? Enjoy my life. Just don't worry about nothing. So, and well, I don't know when he said it, but it may not have been too long after that happened. Right? And the last one, he never told that to me, but some of his friends told me, Jonas would tell them he would do anything to go and meet his brother. As to go and meet Dominic. But Dominic was to him, Dominic and Derrick, they were twins. Derrick is still with us. But Jonas was not a twin. But Jonas and Dominic were more like twins than Derrick and Dominic. So he was his body. The night Dominic died, he was there on the phone trying to find out if it's really true that he died. And when it was confirmed that he died, he had a phone in his hand. He threw the phone on the partition. I could see the spot up to now. It dented the partition up there. Vex like that, right? So I feel people know when they would not know the day and the time and the how, but that is what I am coming out of that. So I think I have learned something.
So who's left now in terms of the family?
The family,
the children.
The children, there are three of them. In the beginning I had four boys and one girl. Now I have two boys and one girl. So it's three. And in my total, if you want to say children population,
yes.
I'm not using words. No,
yes, that's all right.
I had 5 boys and 3 girls, but now I have 3 girls and 2 boys.
Okay. But you do have some grands, I would think.
Yes, I have a couple grands.
Yes.
Patricia, who I will call in there, has 2, a boy and a girl. Then, incidentally, Val had 1 child, which is a boy. He was about 2 years when Val passed. Dominic has 1 child who's a girl. She is in Tampa, Florida. She couldn't come because of her work relations. She couldn't come. And then Jonas had 1 boy who was born on the 4th of January. His father passed on the 25th of June. He was here. He was here for the laying of the ashes. They enjoyed it, you know. So that is the balance of the family.
Yes. Mr. Zamore, we're going to take a break,
Okay.
allow you to take a sip, and then we're going to come right back. When we come back, we're going to move into your educational background, and we're going to move into how you got into agriculture, because I think it just moves into that smoothly. Keep it locked. This is the In the Spotlight radio show. We really just had a bit of a touching moment that I was a bit sensitive about talking to Mr. Zamore about, and I did get his permission. I wanted to do that for sure, to make sure he was okay talking about that, because to lose 3 sons, you know, in such under such tragic circumstances must be difficult for a family, and even more so for a father or even a mother to speak to. So I'm really grateful to him for allowing us the opportunity that he could share with us tonight. Keep it locked. We're coming back in just a moment. This is the In the Spotlight radio show with Mr. Derrick Zamore. We're coming right back.
In the Spotlight on Q95 FM radio every Monday night.
Going well, Mr. Zamore? Yes.
No problem.
Featuring people from all walks of
I mean, I used to do a lot of radio things when I worked in the ministry.
Well, I would want to think so. You're not talking about agriculture.
You know Charles James?
Yes, yes.
The son. He was our communications man then.
Oh, okay.
And he is a JSA graduate as well. From JSA graduate, he went to do communications in Jamaica. And I used to do a lot of patrol programs with Felix.
Okay, all
No
right.
limitations, no restrictions, no holds barred. In the Spotlight will also spotlight interesting topics, issues, and relevant situations. Don't miss In the Spotlight on Q95 FM radio every Monday night from 8 p.m. In the Spotlight.
One-on-one with interesting personalities, educational and informative topics and issues, intriguing and entertaining. A must listen to In the Spotlight, Monday nights from 8 p.m. on Q95.
$8:59 is the time in our studios, and your daughter Patricia, and I'm just sharing because I think probably a little encouragement from them is kind of nice. So Patricia is saying to you, "Good work, Daddy." So she's very vocal on here.
Oh yeah, she is very vocal.
Oh, she is in terms of the chat there. So thank you for tuning in, Patricia. I also see Sherwin is also tuned into the program. So
Okay,
your
Sherwin
neighbor,
Thomas.
yes, your neighbor Didi Easter and a few other persons who are tuned in. Gloria and all the fans of the program, you know, I really do appreciate you in terms of those we can see via the Facebook Live, and of course those who are listening via Q95 FM radio itself, whether it's right here in Dominica on any of the frequencies or whether it's via TuneIn Radio. We are happy to have you. So Mr. Zamore, we're going to continue our conversation tonight, and let us talk. You gave us a brief synopsis of your school, your schooling, your education. So let's get a bit more.
That?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I went to school at Clonal. I had one principal for the whole of the 10 years I went to school. I got into the 7th standard pretty young, maybe at 9 or so. And then in the 7th standard, every year from the time I reached there, I was being taught the same subjects continuously. So I couldn't expand my knowledge base at all. In those days, scholarships were not common. I think there were 5 scholarships for the whole island.
Yes, I heard about that. I've had a few people talk about that on the program.
So I had to go to Portsmouth to sit the exam, and those exams were tough. They were not easy. I didn't pass, right? But I didn't pass not because of me, but it's because I didn't get enough information to go to do the exam.
Okay.
So that went, every year I would get a 7th standard certificate. that is tantamount to a GCE subject.
Okay.
Right? But in the whole 5 subjects, English, how do you call it, arithmetic and the
Mathematics.
Right. So that went, I got 3 of them. Then at the time, a school was built in Portsmouth for the North. It was the Portsmouth, I don't remember its actual name, but they used to call it a post-primary school.
Okay.
And sometimes they would call it a modern secondary school. It was okay because it was a normal school in the small stages coming up, but when you come to 7th standard, you had the brightest students from all the north being in the 7th standard. So Colliho was the extreme north on the west, so we were the northwestern part of the country, and Marigot was the other one to the east. So all the villages there, all the schools, students in the 7th standard were able to come to that school. And it was good because we had Mr. Geo Fingal of Roseau Boys School fame. He was the principal there. And it was good. I was 55, it opened, so I attended the 55 school year and the 56 school year. So I left in June, I think, 57. So I came out of the pretty good. I mean, the subjects were good. If I had that while I was at Colliho School, I would probably be a different person. But it was not to be, so that is. So from there, I came back to Colliho. Nothing to do. Going up with my father. Well, at that time, I was a standard to go on the sea. The boat always leaking water, so he wants somebody to take out water. That's my job. And he lift up the fish pot and the fish and those things, they're cool, but good food. And then when he goes up in the morning, I have to make sure I go up and come back so the children can get food to eat. Yes. So that was cool. Right? And then I would have to help him in the tailoring. I never liked tailoring, but the buttonholes, that was my task. I would have to do all the buttonholes in the pants, right? So that went. So then while I was there, they told me, why don't you apply for a teaching job? I said, I don't like teaching. I don't afford it. He said, but they'll pay you, you know. I said, yeah, but I don't like it. So I'm not going to apply. But they troubled me until I said, okay, I'll apply. So I applied. They never replied to me. I said, thank you. So that went. I knew Mr. Coffey very well. He was the pharmacist at the hospital.
Mr. Val Coffey's
Val
father.
Coffey's father.
Yes.
So I used to go there and then we would speak, you know, because he's from Granby. Well, that Coffey side is from Granby. So we would speak a lot and he would tell me yes, and I would see him how they putting the drugs together, counting that. I say, wow, I can do that too. So he tell me, you want to be a pharmacist? I say, I don't mind. He said, but you wouldn't get paid, you know. You would come there, but you wouldn't get paid. I said, no. My parents can't afford money to pay for me there. So I said, no, I can't do that. So that went. Then I got at this Colliho, there was an agricultural station in Colliho at the time. That station, I think, in the design was to look at agriculture in an arid condition. However, I don't think we were that developed. And we closed that agricultural station, right? I think that should have been opened up to now, so that and more so now with climate change and global warming, you can see how there's a lot of heat one time and a lot of rain the other time. That would have probably helped us do some research there to see how best we can utilize the whole West Coast, you know, but that wasn't to be. So I got employment there, and from there now, I moved up to Roseau. I went there in 57, and in 1958, I got into Roseau. At that time, there was a program funded by the British called Agricultural Apprenticeship Training Scheme. They would take 6 pupils every year or every time that program was offered. And I was fortunate to be one of the 6. Right? So I came there, and we used to get classes in the morning time for the week, and in the afternoons we would do practicals. So you go livestock, a stock farm, or you go at the back on board and that kind of thing. So again, the soiling of your hands into the system, you know. So I went there, I did that. From there, I was sent to the stock farm. So I worked there. I even held the top stock farm job, as I was kind of a student, but I still held the stock job up there. And then from that, I was sent to Hillsborough. At that time, Hillsborough was, the popular name for there was Cocoa Center. People who of my age who know about Cocoa Center, you can remember.
Relate.
You can remember, because all the picnics, that's where they were being held, Cocoa Center. There were all kind of songs they were singing about Cocoa Center. Right? So I went there, and the only thing that was being done there is cocoa.
Okay.
So I developed expertise in cocoa propagation. Right? So I was quite okay. And the boss seemed to have liked me, or I don't know whether he had spotted the qualities that I had. And wherever he was going out on the field, he would take me with him.
Good.
So I would learn a lot more. And then from there, I stayed 6 months there. I used to go to St. Joseph, you know. I mean, I young those days there, you know. So I gave up. Did I have the motorcycle? No, I didn't have the motorcycle yet. I was riding a bicycle there. So I'd go to St. Joseph in the afternoon, and good time, good time. So from there now I was sent to Londonderry, which is near Marigot, so to do cocoa propagation and distribution. So I'll propagate the plants, grow them, and distribute them to the farmers. Right? So that was, I was being developed, gradually going up, gradually going up. And then so I would distribute as far down as Vickers, all the places.
And that was cocoa?
Cocoa only.
Which is something we don't do very much these days.
Well, no, we don't do it.
We'll talk about that a bit later on.
We don't do it. Well, I think we should.
Okay, we'll talk about this later on.
So I was there I went there in December 59. So I stayed there until March 62.
Mr. Zamore, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you realize you're remembering dates and years.
Yeah. Well, these are critical parts of my life.
And we figured out your age, by the way, so we know you're 78. But your memory is impeccable.
Yeah, well, if you say that, okay. But then, you know, there are critical things you don't forget.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Go on.
I'm very forgetful.
You are?
But the critical things I don't forget.
You remember?
Yeah.
Okay. Go on, Mr. Zamore.
So March, I went to Portsmouth as an agricultural extension officer, acting.
Was that the first time that you became an
agricultural? Yeah, I was at Londonderry. I was appointed a cocoa foreman.
A cocoa foreman.
That was the post that scheme would pay for.
Okay.
They wouldn't pay for any other positions in that.
Okay.
So I was appointed cocoa foreman. So I no longer getting paid by fortnight. I'm getting my salary.
You getting your
at the end
salary.
of the month.
You
I
graduate.
I big man now. So I stayed there, and I was transferred to Portsmouth. I was transferred there by Dr. Yankee, Bernard Yankee, to agricultural extension. There I was responsible for the running of the agricultural station, and I still had to work with farmers in that district. And that district took me as far down as Capuchin, and it took me as far up as Point Round, and it brought me inland as far up as Bourne 3 miles. Right? So I know that area very well, right? And I used to interface with a lot of people. In agricultural extension, your job is that as a change agent, you want to change people for the better.
Right.
So whatever you know, you try to put it together and try to help people understand what they can do to better themselves, right? I can't say anything. I think I found great success in that line. So I was at Portsmouth now from 62, I think, up till about 65. And then I was transferred to vehicles. Right? I stayed there maybe for a year. That time I used to go as far up as Ansdime, go right into Thibault, vehicles, Penville. At that time, I don't want to say that, but I hope nobody take offense with me. There was a village, I wouldn't call it a name. The farmers there were not that good with the English language.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to develop my we used to call it patois at that time, not Creole, patois.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to develop my patois and technicalize the patois.
Imagine that.
To give them what they need for them to make the change for the better.
Did it work, Mr.
It worked.
It worked.
It worked. It worked.
So c'est pour ça que ça parle patois.
Non, moi, je sorti Kolio.
Où sont les collègues?
Kolio qui parle belle patois.
So déjà ça parle patois.
Oui, mais moi pas ça parler à Kai. À Kai, nous, ça parle sa pièce. Nous parler sa pièce.
Non.
Mais moi, grand-maman, moi, je parle patois fort. Avec d'autres monde. So je parle avec eux. Right? So je apprendre. But je passe, si moi viens, je commence à parler patois. Okay. So,
but you were able to use
yes,
that patois skill
very good.
and
very
technicalize it for the farmers in that particular
area. Right? And we were good. We were just good. So from there, I think I stayed there a year, maybe a year and a half. And then I was sent back to Portsmouth. I spent another couple of years, maybe 3 years in Portsmouth. And then I was transferred to Granby in 1968. So there again I was in charge of the center and then doing the same agricultural extension, helping farmers. Now I had to realize there was a crop that was of great importance there which I knew nothing about, and that was bay leaf, bay oil, bay oil industry. So I had to beef up myself on that, right? To know how they do the whole system and that thing there. Right? So I got into that. So I was at Granby for about 2 years. And the center, the people in Granby tell me, boys, I'm going to move in the center and even bell. Où ça travaille, man? So
I'm sure that made you feel good.
Yeah, at least
yes,
what I was doing was being
right.
seen. People were seeing it, and people were copying what they were seeing, which is what made me good.
Right.
So there was a time when the populace of Granby told me, Zamore, c'est pour aller représenter un gouvernement.
C'est vrai.
Non, ça va pour moi, ça va pour moi. C'est pour d'autres, je pense ça. Okay, so that is Granby. Then I left Granby. I was transferred again to Girodale.
But you were being moved a lot.
Yes.
Was there a reason for that?
Well, I don't know. But I believe people were seeing who I was. And where there was a shortfall of whatever, whether it's my skills or whatever, my temperament or whatever I had, it could work there. So they would bring me there. Right? So I went to Girodale and a big vegetable thing. I do my own thinking. That time not Dex, the marketing board. They were selling vegetable seeds, and Girodale is a place that grows a lot of vegetables. So I spoke with the marketing board and I tell them, the farmers up there need seeds, but I can't carry it with money. So give me the seeds, I will bring it up there, I'll bring your money for you when it is sold.
Oh.
Yeah.
So just query and then...
they were giving me the consignment. It's not query, I have to pay them. So I will bring it up to Girodale. And there was a shop there by Mr. Cartin. I think his son works at Cable and Wireless.
Oh, he's not there anymore, but yes, I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Cartin.
Cartin, but I call him Cartin. So I would put the seeds there, and then Mr. Carter would sell the seeds to the farmers, so the farmers didn't have to go to town to buy seeds again.
I see. I
So
get you.
these are the little things I would see that was needed, and I would bring it there, right? So I spent Girodel for what, about 2 years? And then, no, a little more, about 3 years. And then I started to build. While I was at Girodel, I took vacation and I started to build in May of 1972. July of the same 72, he said, Zamore, you have to go to Jamaica, you know. I said, Jamaica for what? He said, you go in there to study. I said, okay, I can't turn that down. And I left for Jamaica somewhere in July to do a diploma in tropical agriculture. It's a renowned institution.
Of course.
Oh yes, big time, big time. So I went there. It was tough. All the other subjects were cool for me except one bad boy they call mathematics.
Yes.
But the mathematics not too bad, you know. But there's one little thing in the mathematics that was terrible for me.
Which is what?
And that is geometry.
Geometry.
Those angle business. Acute angle and those kind of angle. That used to angle me.
Mr. Zamore, you're killing me.
So boy, I had to struggle. And it was unfortunate that the lecturer teaching us math was just qualified from University of the West Indies. So he had no experience. He's just chalk and clean, right and clean. He found some Bajans there who have advanced level maths, and so they're communicating themselves in class on the board.
So they're forgetting
They
you all,
forget
the rest
the
of
other
you?
people, the other people like me. They don't know me. Who am I? I have nothing at all. I don't have GCE, I don't have nothing, you know. I am just there. But I say, I come up for a reason and I'm going to do it. So when I realized that thing will kill me, man, there was a friend there. He's now at Auburn University in Alabama, I think. That's Dr. Jolly. Not the Andy Jollies, but his brother to Andy Jolly.
Okay.
He is Dr. Curtis Jolly. And he told me, Zamore, I can help you, you know. But you have to, I can give you half an hour maths, but you have to come at 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, 6 o'clock, but that is joke. If you tell me 3 o'clock, I would faint. But 6 o'clock, I'll be there, man. And I went there and he helped me and I passed the maths.
Nice.
But I passed the maths bottom line. 40 was the pass mark for maths and I got 40. I said, thank you. I cannot go back to Dominica. I will continue the program. Because
You needed to pass maths to
are-
continue the program.
No, you had to pass the pre-semester subjects
Okay.
for you to do, because you come in July, but the program doesn't start before January. So you have to go through that section there. And when you pass it, if you fail, back to your home.
Go back.
Vive la calle. So I did that, and then I started the program in January. Two Dominicans went actually. One is deceased, that is, people who remember Robert Maynard. He and I went together. But he didn't pass the pre-semester the first year. He stayed over and he did it the next year. He passed
Okay.
and he went on.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So I went into the class and I started in January. It was not easy, you know, but I could manage.
Yes.
I mean, what we were doing is things I could apply to myself. Biology is big time biology, yes, but it's English, I can follow it. English, I never used to worry. I don't want to say that a lot for Jamaicans to stone me. English was nothing for me. When the lecturer was giving English, I wouldn't even listen to what she was saying. But for the Jamaican students, English was a subject. They had to listen and take their time. But I never worried, because I know they would tell you to write an essay and a couple little things. So that was cool. So first term, cool, no problem. I remember writing an essay about, in Jamaica they call that ragging. When you come new initiation, that is terrible, they're bad. Yes, they rag you rough, 2 weeks of ragging.
Oh,
Yes,
that's a lot.
Yes. They're tough.
So is that like an initiation?
Initiation.
Yes.
They say once you pass there, you can go anywhere in the world, you'll survive.
It's that bad.
And the thing is, Carlos, that is the big man there, you know. Carlos is the campus devil. When they tell you Carlos will knock you out, that's it, you know. Yeah. So I did that there. We did well. I went on and on and on and on. In the end, normally the start of the class, they take 200 students. Some fail, so 200 never start the program. But some fail, so they go home. And those who remain now, they then select whether some doing home economics, some doing like a stage above the diploma, they call it associate level. So you have shorter times to go to university to graduate, right? So we did that. So my class it ended up with 75 students because every term students are falling out. If you don't do it, they tell you, well, you have to leave, you will come back next year when they are offering that subject, right? So, but once you don't follow, you keep on going on until you do the finals. So I did everything. I never fell on the wayside. And in the end, you wouldn't imagine, I graduated 1 out of 75.
No way.
In the class of 1975.
Number 1.
Yes,
Numero uno.
Yes.
You did.
Yes, I did. Because I did a paper. I did research. Well, I had my work I did in Dominica before I went there helped me a lot.
Okay.
I could set out experiments and I could replicate them and do those things, right? So when I went there, the additional knowledge I got, I was able to do that. So I did a string beans experiment using 2 varieties, and I replicated it 4 times.
Okay.
And then I grew it up, and I collecting my data. So I harvesting and weigh how many pounds you get in each time doing that. So I had to come to Dominica for holidays because that's my last summer. Then I now realize the federal boat, you're paying $18 for a round trip from Jamaica back to Jamaica. So I say I can go to Dominica, I'll spend 2 weeks because you have to go to Trinidad, and from Trinidad you come back going up. So I say I'll stop here, I'll do 2 weeks, and then I'll go back up with the boat. So I said that's cool. So I got to know St. Kitts, Montserrat, Antigua, Dominica. I didn't go further down.
Right.
That was my business.
Right.
So I did that. So when I was leaving, I said, boy, I will lose a lot of data because the thing is in crop. So I said, I don't know how I'll do that. But a good friend of mine, she's become Dominicanized now. Said, Zamore, I'll take the data for you as a Jamaican. Said, I'll take the data for you, you don't have to worry. Just tell me what you want, I'll do that for you. And she did. And when I came back up, she gave me all the results. I said, beautiful. Yes. So I tabulated my thing and I did my thing and I got it typed and everything. And I showed it up. But that person who I say is Dominicanized is no other than Mr. Ambrose George wife, Margaret. At that time she was Margaret Gabidon, but she's Margaret George now, right? So she did all the
I didn't even know she was Jamaican.
She is Jamaican.
Okay.
Yeah, she's from St. Thomas. So I did that and I got a heavy results there.
Good marks.
Yes, and the guy who taught us soils, he said, let me tell you, anybody who wants to see Zamore work, you can't get it in the library, not in the library. It is in my office, so you have to come to me and you have to sign to get it. I said, wow, I'm important now. Yes. So that was it so far, right?
So that was Jamaica.
That's Jamaica. Then I came back from Jamaica. Well, that caused me to have an upper second class honors division. There were no first class honors. So I got an upper second class and that was the biggest impact of the class. Then I came back here. So my boss told me, well, you ready to go to Trinidad? I said, Trinidad, do what? He said, go and do your degree now. I said, baby, so you're going to do nonsense. I said, our wife, she ran, you want me to go 4 years to go there.
To do a bachelor's.
To do a bachelor's. I say, what behave yourself? I don't want that. You know what I want you to do for me? Get short courses, 6 months, wherever it is in the world. I'll go there.
Yes.
Right? So then, okay. So the next thing I know, they got a course for me to go to Mexico to do a modern maize, a diploma modern maize production. Whenever you hear maize, a lot of people don't know what that is, but that is corn. Right? So I went there to CIMIT, but that is French, that is Spanish. CIMIT is spelled C-I-M-M-Y. That's abbreviations for them. And if you don't mind, I can say it in Spanish. I might bite my tongue, but I can still say it. It's Centro Internacional de Mejoramiento de Maíz y Trigo. All it means is that it's the center for the improvement and distribution of wheat and maize.
Okay.
So that's an international institution funded by the World Bank. It's like a university of its own.
Okay.
They preserve germplasm. I mean, they're storing seeds in minus temperature there. That is to protect for anything happen to the world, that they have seed plasma there to plant wherever it is. And they do research all the time. It was good. It was a very good 6 months. Right? So I did that there, and then incidentally, I was getting some bad luck, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The 47-day strike hit
Right.
while I was there. I'm getting letters from my family posted in Trinidad, in St. Lucia. I say, what nonsense is that? It means that nothing can leave Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, my family must be suffering, and I can't be there.
And your heart is breaking.
Yeah, I can't be there, so I'm going home. The guy said, no, you can't go. I said, what do you mean I can't go? I'm not tired, you know. I am going. He said, no, you can't go. I said, so why I can't go? He said, but you have to make your presentation.
That's right.
Because I was doing a research with 84 varieties of maize. And the same replicate 4 times.
And we said what maize is, right?
Yeah, maize is corn.
Corn,
Yeah.
yes.
I must always remember to
Yes.
say maize is corn.
Yes.
Me, as they say in Patois.
Yes.
Me.
Yes.
And the French, the Asians say maïs.
Ah.
So I tell them, so what will happen? He said, one thing we can help you, we will try to make you be the first one to make the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, okay, I'll do that. And as soon as I do the presentation, I can go. He tell me yes. I said, okay. So I did the presentation because they're the people who run the courses, they're very bright people. They are postdoctoral fellows. They have the doctorate and they have to go back and do 1 year of postdoctoral work before they can become a tutor at that institution.
Oh.
Yes, it's big time. And it covers the whole world. You have people from Africa, from Latin America, everywhere. England, everywhere. They come there as students and they do 6 months. Right? When you finish, you go, you're supposed to do corn. But what you learn, you can apply to other crops.
Right.
Because they have very good discipline.
Okay.
They teach you how to do it, but they don't mean that you have to stay there. You could do another crop. So I did that there. I learned a couple of things. I remember we were doing a research in a place called Aguila, and it was very, very dry. And there's a grass there. We would spray it with Gramoxone and the grass wouldn't die. So they brought what is now called Roundup, which I hear is a bad thing by killing people, a cancer thing. So they brought paraquat there. They put it scorched it a little bit, but it don't kill it. So another time they had soap powder like Breeze and so, they put that in it and they spray it, and it killed the thing. So I realized right away, Breeze, the soap powder is a good surfactant to put with your herbicide and you get maximum kill. So when I came back, I started using that with Gramoxone, right? And I went on the radio and I, spoke about it, and a lot of people started using that. So once I was driving from Grand Forks coming back to town, and I gave a guy a ride. And he was sitting with me on the vehicle and we were talking. So he told me he using gramoxone, you know, but he putting soap powder in it. I said, soap powder? I said,
where
what?
you learn that?
I said, where you get that? What? You putting soap powder to do what? He said, but it's working. I said, it's working, so how you learn that? He said, how I learned that? You that say that on the radio, we are not taking.
So the person listen.
The person learn. So,
yes.
and that is my job as a change agent,
True.
to change people for the better.
True.
Right? So that went pretty well. Then from there I came back here. I was doing research on Grand Savannah, but I have the same CIMIT style, you know, nice, good experimentation thing. And a farmer whom I never realized was watching me tooth and nail. And once I drive down the road and I saw a plot, I said, wow, that is a great plot. Who is that? Who does that belong to? When I inquired, I found out it was Mr. Louis, Witness Louis. So I said, Witness boy, what happened back? I said, is how we mukavoyo. So mukavoyo capote pli bien. I said, what boy? I never thought you were learning.
Yes.
So I bought a knapsack sprayer and I gave it to him as a gift just for his
brilliance.
his willingness to accept change
Yes.
for the better.
Good. I like that.
Yeah.
His willingness to accept change for the better.
Yeah. So I finished that with him and then that went. So from there I went into, you want to go into the body of my public service or you want to just move that up?
No, let's talk. We're talking.
Okay. So I went into the coffee project.
Yes.
Right. And then from 1981, I was there until I retired in 1991, 4 years before my scheduled retiring time. But that's another story. So, slightly losing my train.
No, you're talking about what you did for
Right. Well, Whitnell went. I went
Yes.
into the coffee thing, right?
Yes.
So I was in the coffee project there. And then during the program, I got an opportunity to do agricultural management in Swaziland.
Oh.
That's way up Africa, way up there. The British guys wanted me to travel to Swaziland through South Africa, which is Johannesburg. But there was a guy who was doing the account, he was an economist doing the projects for the ministry. He was African. Tell someone, no, because they would just put you on a side. White people one side, black people one side.
Oh my.
Because that was apartheid was
Yes.
big time.
Yes.
Big
yes.
time.
Yes.
Because I went there in '84 and apartheid was big. So he told me, no man, go up through Kenya, man. Go up through East Africa. So we wrote, I got my ticket, $12,000 to go to Swaziland. That's my ticket. So I go up from, I left here, I went to Antigua, I went to London. I had to do vaccinations for diseases that are prevalent in Africa, but we don't have here. And Dominica doesn't have the vaccines to do that. So I had to go to the tropical hospital in London to get those vaccines done. I spent 3 days there, and then I went to Africa. So I went up to Kenya, and I came back down, because Kenya is at the top, and I came back down through Malawi, and then I went to South Africa.
Oh, wow.
So I did 3 months, nice, you know, in Swaziland, in Mshlume. I can say a little Swahili, but not much.
Not much. Not much.
I can say Kunjani, you know.
Which is what?
How are you?
I am fine.
And
How do
then
I answer?
They would say, Yebo.
Yebo.
It's good.
Yebo.
Well, so I came there and I did a PC34, that was the name of the program. It's agricultural management, planning and control in agricultural management. That was the program. It was very good, very, very, very good. It helped me a lot. It disciplined me even more. So I came back and I stayed with the coffee until I retired. So that, in a nutshell, is my Ministry of Agriculture.
Your Ministry of Agriculture journey.
Portrayal.
Timeline. And During that time, Mr. Zamore, how would you describe your contribution to the overall sector, the overall agricultural sector, both in terms of the knowledge you acquired and how you were able to impart that knowledge to others in that quest for change?
Yes. Well, all of those attachments and studies and visits to the different locations helped me a lot. I could start to visualize what I wanted to do, right? One thing that surprised me was when I went to Minnesota in '87, because I became, it's a long story, you know, I became agricultural officer of excellence in Dominica, and there's a reward. You go to the US for a 2 weeks program.
Okay.
So when I went there in '87, I realized that it's a nice organization. What I went there, you know, and we could do that here. So I tried and I got it done. So we had Dominica Association of Agricultural Extension Workers, right? So that was, everybody said, we're going to get more money. I said, no, we're not talking salary. That has nothing to do with salary. You go to your union for your money. But that is to develop you, to make you a better person. That's all, so that the farmer can benefit. Because our objective is not us, it's the farmer, that's our target. So we have to do that to make sure the farmer can benefit from the knowledge, right? So we did that, and I was the first president. When the first year finished, I said everybody can just do 1 term as president, so everybody gets
an
a chance.
opportunity.
But nobody wanted to follow up. I said, okay, I'll break the rule and I will do it the second year. And I said, the second year, that's it, I'm through. And I did it, and it went down. It dilly-dallied, you know, and then it died.
Oh.
It died. Grenada had followed. They had done 1 because they brought me up there to talk to them, right? So I spoke to them and they got 1 started.
I'm so impressed with you, Mr. Zamore. You know that?
No, I like people, and I like agriculture. Agriculture is me. Right? I like it. So in all of that, I was looking for land to buy. Because my father has land, but little pieces of land, you know, and it's difficult terrain and access is difficult. So I don't want that. I want something where I can drive my vehicle to and do what I have to do.
Yes.
So I remember Dr. Henderson, deceased, he died. He was the Dean of Agriculture at UWI. And he was the father of agricultural extension. And I used to dialogue with him good. So he was looking for, he said, if you get before me, tell me. If I get before you, I'll tell you. And he got there. I don't know what he forgot, he never told me. But I got to know that there's land there for sale, which is part of Clonal Estate. So I went there and I selected a portion. But it was small, it was 3-something acres. I said, no, that's too small. I want something bigger. So I said, I want about like 5 to 6 acres. I don't want plenty land, because land is trouble. Right? So 5 acres, and Carol Winsky, who was the surveyor for them, he widened the spot that I had, and I got that, and I set up my farm. Quite a good thing, you know. I had, well, I dabbled in the crops that were going at the time. Bananas, I was into the banana. Good time.
Yeah. Back when it was green.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was good. When the vehicles used to park by Mount West. I don't know if you know Mount West.
No, sir.
Yeah, you're still young. Mount West is right where the guys sell the fish at Fonkole, and
yes.
we're going up to Fonkole on the hill.
Yes.
Down there. They used to be all under the cliff. Trucks used to park there on the fortnights. Right?
And you used to make good money.
Yes. Well, we made money. Remember, we were independent.
Yes.
We could go for what we wanted.
Yes.
I mean, some farmers would buy their pickups cash.
Yes. I
Never
heard that.
went to the bank.
I heard this
They
stories.
just come with a suitcase and they just count their money and That's it.
Yes, yes.
But
what happened, Mr. Zamore? What happened to the banana industry?
well, the banana industry, if you don't support what you have, it will fall.
Mm-hmm.
And every country in the world supports their agriculture because food is crucial to survival.
Correct.
Right? So anybody who doesn't want to secure food is a problem. Right? And you know, what I see, we're just importing. I mean, I went to one of the supermarkets and I'm seeing cantaloupe. So I asked them, who is producing them? He said, no, it's not producing here, no. We're not bringing. I said, but we can grow that. He told me, yes, we can grow that, but we have to bring it in. I said, wow.
That hurts you.
Yeah, I say, all our money going away, we have no money. Because all our money going to buy, all our little foreign exchange going out there to buy. So our negative balance of trade, I'm talking economics now, because at JSA you have to do economics, right? Economics 101, you have to do that. So you can't be comfortable because all your money going out, right? You don't have, now they're talking about, what is the new term there? Sovereignty, food sovereignty. You should be able to control your food, right? If somebody has to supply you with chicken, they're controlling you, right? And they will give you what they want. Sometimes you don't have the capacity to determine if it is good or if it is not good. So, but you have to eat it. Then you're going to see level of obesity. I mean, I've been talking to one of my medical friends, and I should tell them about 2-3 years ago, no more than that, 6-7 years ago. I said, well, you don't see what you see in there. Very soon the hospital will be too small, you know. You will not have space for people, but people not healthy. Tell me, boy, what you are saying there is true, you know. We can see it now. Like I saw somewhere, 60% of our female people are obese, and 33% of our male obese. I mean, that's trouble.
That's unacceptable.
That's trouble. Where are you going to find money to survive? Buy medication for those people? You cannot do that. And then agriculture has gone down. So how are you going to have liquid money?
But Mr. Zamore, for somebody like you who was so integral into the agriculture sector here back in your time, can you share with me what put in then and what is happening now? What is the difference that you see? What do you think was different back then?
Okay.
Because you spoke earlier about the cocoa crop. You spoke about coffee. You spoke about bananas. And I mean, I don't think we do any of those.
Let's take them crop by crop.
Let's take them crop by crop.
Let's take bananas because that was the most important.
Yes.
Right? Bananas is a good crop. I call it a cash crop because it is quick. In 9 months, you can harvest bananas. I did work at Granby on the station, and I realized 9 months after you plant the sucker, you can harvest a bunch. Right? So that is good, and it doesn't have problems. It will have suckers, which will give you a next growth. So once you manage the suckers well, you have a good following, or you call it succession. The succession pattern is beautiful. So in 2 years after you plant the crop, you can harvest 3 crops of bananas.
Okay.
So this is good, right? And bananas, next important thing for bananas was if there was a market. You could sell all the bananas you had once they were good. So there was no limit. And I say that every day, a Dominican farmer, he can produce, provided he can sell. If he cannot sell, that is trouble.
So if the markets are
yes,
not available.
once the market is there, he has the capacity to produce and produce quality material. So that is with bananas, right? Because we send banana plants to St. Lucia. You know? Now St. Lucia selling whole fig, and we have
a J fig.
Whole. But what I think brought down worse was the disease, the black sigatoka. Then if you have a problem and you don't address the problem, then it's going to get worse. I don't like talking problems I say I have no problem, but I have challenges. So I don't say the banana was a problem. The banana was a challenge, but we did not rise to the challenge. And then that's what happened. So we allowed the black cigar toca. We knew that black cigar toca was going to come. So we should have done what we had to do so that when it comes, we can control it. St. Lucia has the same black cigar toca, and it's selling bananas. It's even selling more bananas now than before. Right? So it's us. You only get, how do they say in the computer language? What you put in is what you get out. So that is us. If we don't have the inputs to make the farmers get, right, then you cannot take care of the crop.
Any hope for bananas from your point of view?
Once there's life, there's hope, right? But what I see is the majority of the farmers are doing other work.
They've moved away from it.
Yeah, they moved away. I haven't gone rural that much to see what the country looks like. I must stay in town, right? But I see a lot of people who should be on the farm, right? And they're here doing what?
Doing other things. You spoke about cocoa earlier on. You spoke about coffee
right,
as well. What
Let's go to cocoa.
Let's go to cocoa.
Cocoa, the British had the scheme in the 60s. Because anytime you hear scheme, it's British. How British spend their money.
Right.
They give you a certain amount of money for a specific thing. So cocoa was that. So they had the scheme. So everything was here. Cocoa was established all over, and normally you'll find the best cocoa areas are in the valleys. So all the valleys, like the Laiu Valley, that is big time for cocoa. You go in the Salisbury Valley, yes. You go in the Coolibistry Valley, yes. You go in the Coliho Valley, yes. As you get the valleys, but there's good protection from winds, and then the soil there is alluvial, it's deep, and you have very good drainage, so you get good conditions for cocoa there, right? But then that has gone off. Cocoa Center, well, unfortunately, the river, the Laiu River, passed right through, and it took everything, right? There are other areas. Londonderry used to be a cocoa area, but that's my area, right? But that has moved to other things, right? So I don't know what Londonderry looks like now. I have no idea. So these are the things that we have to do, and nobody does any. All of the cocoa was clonal cocoa.
What does that mean? Okay,
clonal. You got varieties from Trinidad, from the University of the West Indies, and then you bring them and you propagate them not by seed, but by vegetative means. So we used to do cuttings. So you get nice succulent branches, you cut it out, you put it, there's a system, you put soil, you put sand, river sand, and you put it there, you water it for a certain time, it catches, it grows, and you plant that. So you get clonal cocoa. That way you are able to get back what you planted. Whenever they use the seed, you're not sure what you're going to get, because you have two people making the seed. The seed becomes what we call a F1, which is the progeny of father and mother. So you don't know what the child will be, right? By the time when the child gets big, the child is not what you want it to be, right? But if you do the cutting, you get the exact thing. Like that's what they do for citrus and what they do for avocados. They do budding and grafting. Cocoa, we used to do cuttings. So you cut it, you put it there, and it grows. Right? So that is cocoa. Coffee was an independent severance package from the British. So they gave you money to do coffee development, and it has vehicles and it has everything in it, right? Then you have to go and put it in. I happen to have that responsibility, so I did. I had to transfer the emphasis. It should have been done at Laplin, but I felt in my own little basic local knowledge, Laplin was not the ideal place. Hillsborough was the better place for it, so I went there, and then I set out the cocoa. Since the variety that we were using needed high altitude, right? So I set it on the west coast, in the high altitude areas, right? So that's where we have the most land with that elevation to get a quality product, right? So that's why you hear like Syndicate, you hear in the heights of Collio, in the heights of Coolibistry, in the heights of Salisbury, and into Cahome. I end the coffee at Cahome. I don't go further.
Okay.
Although places like Cochrane, Loader, Mont Prosper, Bellevue Chopin, Girardel, those areas can do. But since they have other commodities growing there, it's better you leave that alone and concentrate on the Syndicate area that has no other crop except citrus. And coffee, I developed the thing where you can make coffee compatible with citrus. So you have your citrus groves established and you can put coffee between it. So it helps you control your weeds and it gives you additional income. Right? So these are the things that I did while I was in the coffee program.
So from your point of view, what is our current status as it relates to agriculture? And I mean, the program is about you, so we spoke about you, but we must touch on some of those areas as well. And if you have any recommendations that you would give to the Ministry of Agriculture at this time, what would some of those recommendations be in terms of moving agriculture from the back burner, like many persons say that it is, to the front of the stove?
Okay, well, this is a tough question, man. Very, very tough.
I'm sorry, I didn't intend to be tough,
but
Mr.
I'll speak my mind.
Speak your mind. It's your mind, sir.
I'm not scared.
No.
I think the directive has to come from the top.
Right.
And if that happens, let's say, to me, there is no direction for agriculture. That's to me, that's what I see. Right? But that's supposed to change. Right? We should get the directive from the top that we are committed to agriculture. And then the technical people in agriculture have to be able to put themselves out and tell whoever it is what has to be done. Because the people at the top, they don't know anything about what is there. They don't know. They might talk, but they don't know. So, but I don't know. It's a tough subject.
What would you do in terms of young people, in getting young people interested in agriculture? Because I'm listening to you, Mr. Zamore, and although you told me you didn't tell me exactly your age, but we figured it out. But I still think you can contribute.
Yes, you see, young people, they have vision, right? They know what they want for themselves. And if the condition is right, they'll go for it. But if the young person sees that their father is an agriculturist, they have mangoes and it cannot sell, right? You're going to tell the young boy, go and plant mango?
You have a point.
You cannot do that.
You have a point, sir.
You have young people go into the garden with their parents and they realize they cannot ride on a vehicle to go to the farm. You're going to tell that young person, go to the farm?
Yeah.
I mean, places where there was roads, motor cars used to drive through there. Now a four-wheel drive cannot go there. And you're telling me you have interest in agriculture? That can't be. I mean, we have to sit down, take time, and be sure of what we need. I mean, agriculture is the largest rural employer. When you don't have agriculture in the rural parts of the country, what are you going to do with all those young people? What can you do with them? You cannot find jobs for them, but they could employ themselves on their parents' land. And I mean, the land size is not that big. But the average land size here is about 3.5 acres. On 3.5 acres, people will make a living. It will not be subsistence. They'll be able to earn, and they will be independent, not dependent. What I see, everybody seems to be dependent. Everybody saying tomorrow. I mean, you take somebody to work for you and tell them, we'll do that tomorrow. Why not do it now? So we're losing that feeling of that I can do. Right? Somebody has to give me, give me. Yeah, that can help.
Would you still be willing to advise, assist in any way if anybody were to approach you?
I do that all the time. Anybody asks me questions, I give them what I feel they should do, you know. But the thing is, I am not here per se.
Yes, I understand.
I'm enjoying my retirement, right? Because I think I earn it. So I vacation where I want to, and then I come back here. But every year I'm here. Every year I'm here.
All right. We didn't talk much about what you did personally in terms of farming, agriculture. So probably you can share with us. I would presume you own your own farm at some point?
Yes, I still have it. I have the land. It's 5.378 acres.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's good land.
Is it good land? Is it worked land?
Yeah, I worked it. At one time I was the biggest pig farmer in Dominica. I mean, when the Taiwanese were here, the guy who did livestock, he told me, Zamore, you are the biggest. I said, no, I'm not the biggest. He said, yes, you are. I said, so what about Mr. Etienne at Delhi? He said, no, Mr. Etienne doesn't have what you have. Because my unit could take 20 sows, which is 20 mothers, right? And I was working on a thing of each mother would make 10. So that would be 200 piglets per batch. And you can get 2 batches per year. And I had the infrastructure to take all those piglets and do sell none to nobody. Finish them, I don't say fatten, but nobody was fat meat, right? So we finish them to slaughter size, and then they can go on the market. So that's what I did.
All right. So you were a pig farmer.
Yes, and I was a poultry farmer.
Yes, a poultry.
Yeah, I produce eggs.
Eggs.
And I dabbled into broilers, the poultry meat on a smaller scale.
All right.
And then I did peppers for Dexia for a while. And then after I did some dashing, but not any big.
All right.
Because I had a little outlet in town, so I could sell my things.
Yes, and that's what I learned as well. I learned you had a little...
Where it's a pet fish
yes,
thing.
Yes. It's close to Davos.
Yes, next
Davos
to
place.
Davos is my neighbor.
Your neighbor, yes. But good stuff, Mr. Zamore. I really wish there were quite a few like you around. Probably you all could even form your own organization and probably come together and lead, be the leading force in getting the vibe on agriculture.
But you see, it's not a selfish thing. It has to be a broad thing, So there must be participation by everybody.
Yes.
I mean, if you try to do this, let's say on my farm, my road cannot be repaired. That means it's going to cost me a lot of money, right? Which I have to give up. But if everything is being done, the whole package, I was about to say that when I went to Minnesota, we went to a conference, like a seminar with University of Minnesota Agricultural Extension people. And I was so surprised with the level of development in the United States then. The meeting was about visionary planning. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that. And I say, here to me, we have no vision, we can't see where we're going. Right, so.
No vision is what you think. So do you think that's it for agriculture? We've lost the battle?
Well, we still have the land. I mean, what you need is land, and we have good land, good soils. We need water, we have good rainfall. I mean, most of our farming is rain-fed, right? We depend on rainfall, right? But we have rivers that we could harness. I know they have harnessed one, the Cassibush River. There is water on the land. I don't know why it is not used to produce, because Cassibush has a lot of land, and I used to see a lot of bananas there. Right? but I don't know. I don't know. We need to look for a new mindset.
A new mindset. We're getting ready to wrap things up here. Yeah, I know, right? You see how quickly the time goes by? I need to find out, why do they call you Big Z?
That's the children.
The children?
You see, it's the kids, you know. Z is letter Z.
Uh-huh.
Zamore, right? So I'm the big one.
You're
right?
the big
Right.
Zamore.
I'm the big
And
one.
that's about it.
But when I went to Jamaica at JSC, I was big, you know. I was pretty heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to call me Big Nick, because Nick means Dominican.
Yes.
Dominican, so they called me Nick.
Yes.
And Maynard was short and little bit, you know. So they used to call him Little Nick. Right? So from that, I don't know whether I told people about that, and but I lost 25 pounds in Jamaica when I went for the first 5 months. And that was good. I never put it back.
You were missing home.
No, the food was terrible and the work was hard.
Oh my goodness. Somebody says, Mr. Zamore, let me see if I can get it. Oh my goodness, the messages are going up. Okay, somebody says, this man should be an advocate for the cause, very articulate and eloquent. So people seem to be quite impressed with you, and I have been quite impressed with you, Mr. Zamore. Our 2 hours has practically come and gone, but I think that we covered quite a bit on the program. It was really good getting to know you, getting to know the person, getting to know about your family, getting to know even about the tragic moments, experiences that
we've had our time.
You know, you've had in your life. You said that most of your family actually are out of Dominica at the moment, most in the US. But you make sure that you come back.
Yeah, that's in my country. I love my country.
You know, and you spend a few months
and I
there.
want to see it do better.
Yes, you want to see it do better.
I'm very sad to see what is happening to agriculture right now. I'm very, very sad. But there's hope.
There's hope. Mr. Zamore, as we wrap up, I'm going to give you the opportunity to share some final comments with us on the program as we wrap up. So over to you.
Okay. Let me see how will I finally close up now. I hope I haven't disturbed anybody's thinking.
I don't think so.
I know some people may have expected me to say more, but there are other times. I'll come back sometime, right? So don't frighten. I'll be around, okay? But it's good being here. That's the first time I've ever come into Q95. I never knew Q95, right? So I've been here now. So I know some people here. I saw the guy who does the program at 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh. Rodney is Kulibistri, you know, so I know him very well. And the other one, Pastor Jack.
Yes.
He is married to my relative.
Oh.
So I was trying to ask him if he is the Jack. He told me yes.
He's the Jack.
Yeah, he is the Jack, right? So I know some of them. But all in all is not lost, right? All is not lost. We have to look at getting proper feeding, and we need to get feed that is not too, how would I say that? Very good food closer to organics. Organics are expensive, but if we grow our things ourselves, we will reduce the quantity of fertilizers and probably use more manures. Because you have an animal, you can use the dung, put it in the stuff, it will do the same because the plant doesn't know the difference between fertilizer and manure, you know. Because the plant only takes its food in the form of water. It's like you eating soup. So the plant only does that. The food has to dissolve in water so that the root hairs can take it and bring it into the tissue, right? So it doesn't know when you put fertilizer or when you put manure, but manure is better because it helps the soil make it better, improves and do it better. So that's the way we have to go. But the world is changing, and the internet, people, they want it now and they want everything right away, you know. So that's the sad thing. But all in all, there's hope.
There's hope.
There's hope.
There's hope. Mr. Derrick Zamore, it was my absolute pleasure having you on the program tonight. And as we wrap up, I would like to also once again thank Dr. Dave Lloyd, who called me up and thought that you would be an amazing guest for the program. And I must say that I have to agree with Dr. Lloyd that indeed you are, sir, and I am happy that you came through and you spoke to us. You were honest. You shared as much as you could. We learned quite a bit about you, and you shared with us on agriculture as well. I'm happy that your family were able to see you actually on the program tonight. I thought that was quite amazing, and I really again just want to say thank you to you, and I really appreciated you being here. All right, so you have a wonderful night, and I'm going to wrap it up now. So thank you so much for tuning in to the In the Spotlight radio show tonight with Mr. Derrick Zamore, and he was indeed an amazing guest, an unforgettable guest, and I hope that in some way or the other you enjoyed the program and was happy to have him on here as well. Thank you so much, everyone. We will be back here next week, Monday, God willing, for another In the Spotlight radio show. Thank you again, Derrick Zamore. That's
no
a
problem.
wrap. That's it, right, Mr. Zamore?
Yes, yes.
All
Quite
right.
cool, quite
All
cool.
right. Good stuff. Good night, everybody.